Welcome everyone to Yoga Basics. And today the props that we'll be using are a yoga strap or a belt if you don't have a strap, a block, yoga block, and your chair. So just make sure you have those things nearby. And then sitting comfortably on the mat, again on some folded blankets or even on your block to try to lift your hips up a little bit. Legs are either folded or just extended out in front of you. And then we'll take a few moments to prepare the body and our mind for the practice. So just closing your eyes and turning the attention inward and taking a moment to notice how your body feels. Especially noting any areas of tension or tightness. And then taking 2 deep cleansing breaths. So take a nice big inhale. And exhale it all out by blowing or sighing it out. And one more nice big inhale. And exhale it all out. And then soften the muscles of the face. Relax the muscles of the neck and the shoulders. And then turn the attention to the breath. Notice the inhale and notice the exhale. And then we'll begin a nice even breathing, inhaling and exhaling to a count of 4. So inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. And just continue with this nice, even breathing. If at any time it makes you lightheaded or dizzy, just go back to your own normal breathing pattern. And then we also set an intention for each practice to help remind us why we are here. So that may be a benefit you would like to receive, or just an uplifting or a positive thought or a phrase. So think of an intention that you'd like to have for your practice today. And then with your next inhale, we'll go ahead and lift the head and open the eyes. If you did have your legs folded and you want to switch that top leg, go ahead and do that. And then we'll go ahead and begin the warm-up by turning our heads to look out over that right shoulder. And coming back to center And turning to look out over the left. And back to center, dropping the chin to the chest. And then picking the chin up towards the ceiling and jutting that lower jaw out. And coming back to center and dropping the right ear to the right shoulder. And back to center and left ear to left shoulder. And back to center, extending the hands out in front, open and close the fingers. And then some wrist circles. And reverse. Good. Bringing the hands back to the lap and then doing some shrugs. And the next time you pick those shoulders up, roll them to the back. Good. Bringing the shoulders down, extending the elbows out to the side, fingertips together, and keeping the torso still, just lift and lower those elbows. Good. And then bringing those hands back down, taking the right hand, placing it to the outside of that right hip. Inhale, sweep the left arm up, and exhale, bend to the right. Coming back to center, switch arms, sweep the right arm up, and exhale, bend to the left. Little side bend here. Good. Coming back to center, and then coming into a twist. So left hand on the right knee. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale, turn and look to the right. Good. Exhale back to center, switch hands. Inhale to lengthen and exhale, turn and look to the left. Good. Release back to center. And then go ahead and extend your legs out in front of you if you did have them crossed, and shake them out a little bit. And then taking your hands, placing them behind that right thigh, pull the knee in and extend it out. And then holding that knee in place, point and flex the foot. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. Good. And then extending that leg, and we'll switch to the other side, bending and extending, warming up the thigh and the knee. And the next time you pull it in, hold it there, point and flex the foot. And then some ankle circles. And reverse. Good. And then bringing that left foot back down to the mat, we'll come onto hands and knees. You can open up your blanket if you'd like to pat your knees and shins. And then coming onto hands and knees, placing the wrists right underneath the shoulders. Knees are under the hips, hip width apart. And we'll come into cat-cow. So with an inhale, lift the chest and the sits bones. And with the exhale, press into the hands, rounding the spine for cat. Inhale, back to cow. Exhale into cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Couple more of these. Inhale. And exhale. And again, inhale. And exhale. Bringing the spine back to neutral, and then pushing the hips back to the heels and coming into child's pose. Stacking your fists or grabbing your block to support the forehead. And just taking a few breaths here. Good. And then extending those arms out in front of you, coming back to hands and knees. And then we'll come into either puppy pose, extending the arms out in front. I usually come on my fingertips and then extend the chest down as you pull the shoulders down the back. Or downward facing dog. So pressing into the base of the index finger and thumb, lifting the hips. Bending the knees, again, extending through the arms, pulling the shoulders down the back, possibly straightening one leg and then the other, and continue to breathe. Good, and then with your exhale, go ahead and bring your knees down. And then sweep your lower legs to one side so you can lower your hips down and extend your legs out in front of you. So we're going to come down for a little more warm up on our backs. Make sure you have your strap nearby. All right, so from here, you'll roll onto your side, lower yourself down to the mat, and then roll onto your back. And keeping the knees bent, your feet on the floor, we're going to do some pelvic tilts. This is a great way to loosen the low back if you're having some low back pains or it just feels tight. Now, as you sit here normally, you can feel that sway in the low back. I can slide my hand behind my back. So that is neutral. From here, I want you to press your waist down towards the floor so you can feel you're tilting the pelvis back. So now you would not be able to slide your hand. And then you're going to do the opposite. So now you're going to arch that low back, press your pubic bone down towards the floor. And then with your exhale, come back to pressing or doing a posterior tilt of the pelvis. Inhale the other way. So it's just this nice rhythmic movement of tilting that pelvis back and forth. Good, just loosening up those muscles. It's not done fast or anything like that. Just a nice, easy movement here with the breath. Exhale as you press. Inhale as you arch. Good. Now, bring the pelvis back to neutral. Take your feet and just walk them out till you feel the edges of your mat. And then from here, we're going to do what's called windshield wipers, so a nice stretch. Take that right knee, drop it down towards the left. Either bring your arms out, what we call goddess arms, to the side. If you're okay extending your shoulders or your arms up over your head, take your left index finger and thumb and grab the back of the right wrist. And then while that knee is down, gently pull that right arm to the left. Good. And then inhale back to center, switch. You're holding the back of the left wrist as you drop the left knee down. Good. And then come back to center. Let's try it once more. So right knee goes down. You're just gently pulling that right arm to the left, getting a good stretch on the side of the body. Good. Back to center and left. And then coming back to center, go ahead and walk your feet back in. Release your arms. You'll want to make sure your strap is nearby here. We're going to do a hamstring stretch. So we'll start by extending the left leg. Now, if you have low back issues, just keep that knee bent. Just keep your left foot on the floor. If you're okay, extend that leg, and you're going to hug the right knee in towards your chest. Just getting a nice stretch through the glute, mainly the hamstring here before we start. Good. And then release that, grab your strap, find the middle point of your strap and place that around the ball of the right foot. And then just extend the leg, let your strap go with you. Then once your leg is completely extended, so you're pressing your thigh away from you, the back of that leg is straight. Then walk your hands up the strap. Pull your shoulders down towards the mat and continuing to press my right thigh away from me and pull my hands down. And then press through your left heel if that leg is extended. If not, just bend the left knee, keep it here. That'll support that low back. And continue to breathe, just that nice, even breathing. Good, and then go ahead and bend that right knee, release, and we'll try it on the other side. So again, if you need to bend that right knee, go ahead and do that. If not, extend it and then hug that left knee in. Good, and then release and put your strap around the ball of the left foot. Again, let the strap just extend with your leg. Focusing on the back of the knee, your leg doesn't have to be up that high. Maybe you're here or even here. Whatever height will extend the leg. So it just depends on the flexibility in that hamstring. Good. Press that thigh away from you. Pull the shoulders down the back. You should be feeling a nice deep stretch. Remember, no pain or discomfort. Back off of it. I would probably lower your leg down. That should do it. Good. And breathe. Good, and then go ahead and bend that left knee and remove your strap. Just put your strap to the side. We will get to that again later. And then bend the right knee, if it isn't bent already. Go ahead and walk those feet in towards your sits bones. And then extending the arms out at shoulder height, palms facing up, come into a twist. So pressing into your feet, pick your hips up a little bit and just shift them over to the left, about, 2 inches maybe. Pick your feet up off the mat so your knees are in line with the hips, and then drop the knees to the right. Now you'll notice how your left shoulder wants to come up. So you're going to press into the back of that right hand to get that left shoulder down to the mat, and then turn and look to the left. Good. Continue to breathe. Good. And then pick those knees up, bring them back to center. Place your feet down. Pick your hips up so you'll come back to center and then shift them to the right. Feet come up off the mat so your knees are in line with your hips, and then drop those knees to the left. If your knees don't come all the way down to the floor, that's okay. You could put a block under that left knee, or if you have a stack of blankets, something to rest it on. The key is to try to keep that right shoulder down. So even if your knees are here, let's say, and I bring my blankets over, that will help me to keep my shoulder down. So we're always using whatever props we need to help us come into the pose. Good. And then with the inhale, go ahead and come back to center. Realign those hips back to neutral. And then we're going to roll on our side and push ourselves back up to our seated position and then come up to standing. So let me, blankets here. So for standing, you will need to have your chair nearby, possibly your block, because I'll show you something you can do with that too. All right, and then we'll get to that in a moment. So in the meantime, we're going to come into Tadasana. So standing in the middle of the mat, we'll find those four corners of the feet. So as you stand here, you want to spread your toes, distribute the weight between the balls of the feet and the heels, and then lift up through the arches, tighten the front of the thighs, arms alongside the body, lift and tighten the abdominals, lengthen up from the tailbone all the way up to the crown of the head. Pick those shoulders up, roll them down the back, gazing forward, and come back to your nice, even breathing. Good. And then we're going to come into chair pose. So with your inhale, we're going to extend the arms out to the side, palms facing forward, and bring the arms just a little bit above shoulder height. And then with the exhale, the weight will shift into your heels as you push the hips behind you, keeping that chest lifted. Good. Glance down, make sure you can see your toes. And continue to breathe. Good. And then with the inhale, lift that torso, release the arms, shake it out a little bit. And then we will use the chair to have it nearby for balance. So leave a block on it right now. So coming around the right side of the chair, we're going to come into a balanced pose. It's our figure 4, or when we're on our backs, we call it reclined pigeon. So you'll want to shift the weight over to the left leg. Keep your left hand on the chair for right now until you get yourself balanced. I'm actually going, I've got like 3 mats here. That's really unstable. I don't know if I'll be able to balance on that. So anyway, I'm going to move over. All right, so weights in the left leg. Now, bend the left knee a little bit because you're going to pick up your right foot and cross it over that left thigh. Remember how we do this laying on our back. Now, as you're here, you can either bring one hand to the chest or in prayer, or find your gazing point. See if you can bring both hands to the center. Good. And continue to breathe. Good, and then with the inhale, come on up, release the right leg, shake out that left leg. And then we'll try it on the other side. So the first thing you want to do is you really want to root that right foot down. Spread your toes. Put the weight in that leg, and then just come into maybe a half squat. You're just bending that right knee so you can cross that left foot over. If it's too much to get your leg up this high, just cross on the ankles. I probably should have said that on the other side, but hopefully you're always modifying it. Normally I usually remember to tell you to, but all right. Hand comes to the chest so you can find your gazing points. Good, and continue to breathe. Good, and then with your inhale, go ahead and come on up. Release that left leg, shake out that right leg, walk it out. And then go ahead and just put your chair at the top of your mat. Oops. And like I said, we'll get to that in a minute. And then coming back to the center of the mat, we're now going to extend the feet so that we're in this wide stance. And keeping the feet facing forward, we'll inhale, bring the arms up to shoulder height, and see if you can get your ankles just about under your wrists. I know it might be kind of wide for you. And if it is too wide and you feel unsteady, then narrow your base there, bring those feet together. So this is called star pose. So you can see why. Still keep your torso nice and tall. Now we're going to do an isometric contraction. So what I mean by that is we're going to tighten the muscles here in the glutes around the hip, but we're not going to move them. You're going to imagine you're trying to slide your feet out even farther. So you're going to press into the outer edges of your feet. Do you feel that up here in your hips? That's what we want. Now, as you come into that contraction, you'll want to hold your breath. Keep breathing. Good, a couple more seconds. Good. Go ahead and relax those arms down, just kind of wiggle it out a little bit. And then from here, we're going to come into side angle and triangle. So we'll start with the right foot. So right foot's going to go out at 90 degrees. Left foot you're going to leave facing forward. Just line up your right heel with the instep of that left foot. Then you're going to bend the right knee, stack it right over the ankle, and have it in line with your toes. And you'll notice that left hip is now angled toward the right. That's okay. From the waist up, turn and face the front. Bring those arms back up as you take a nice big inhale. Then as you exhale, you're going to lean to the right and place your right forearm on your thigh. Now, if you can, sweep that left arm up next to your ear or place it on your hip and open up that left shoulder. Good. And continue to breathe. Good. And then with your inhale, go ahead and lift the torso, straighten that right knee, and then we'll exhale. Now you're going to lean to the right as far as you can. Bring that right hand down. Maybe it's on your thigh, your shin, maybe your ankle. Now you're going to sweep that left arm up towards the ceiling, palm facing forward, or place it on your hip. And again, work on opening that left shoulder and chest. Good. Continue to breathe. And then focus on your hips. Make sure you're not pushing them forward. You want to keep the hips and the shoulders in a straight line. Good. All right, lift that torso. Exhale, bring the arms down. Let's try it on the other side. So left foot goes out, right foot forward. Bend the left knee, stack it over the ankle. Good. Bringing those arms up. So basically warrior two. Inhale. Then as you exhale, you're going to lean to the left. Bring the left arm to the thigh, the left forearm. Now you're going to sweep that right arm up or place it on your hip. If you place on your hip, it's a little easier to try to open up that shoulder and chest. Good. Press into your front heel and to the outside of that right leg, the pinky toe side. Good. And then with the inhale, lift the torso, straighten the left knee. Exhale, lean to the left, and then bring that left hand down. Again, it's going to depend on that right shoulder. If you feel yourself collapsing forward, then bring that arm back up. Okay? All right, lifting the right arm up or placing it on your hip for triangle. Good. Continue to breathe. Good. And then with the inhale, come on back up. Exhale, bringing the arms down. Go ahead and turn that left foot forward. And then walking those feet together. All right, here's where our chair is going to come in. So we're going to come into, whoops, half moon pose, if I don't trip over the blanket. So we're going to use the chair for this and possibly the block. I'm going to show you with the block too. So you're going to bring the chair to the short end of the mat. And you're going to stand maybe about a foot back from the seat of the chair. All right, we'll start by shifting the weight into the left leg. And you're going to bring the left hand down on the chair. Start by bending the left knee. Now here's where the block is handy. You can put your hand on the block or on the chair. It's going to depend once we come into the pose. Now, you're going to turn the hips to the right as you just bring your right toes behind you. So it's the same way that we were for triangle, turning those hips forward. Now, the weight is in that left leg. As you begin to lift that right leg up, see if you can straighten the left leg. You don't have to lift that right leg real high. Again, you can extend that left arm up. Oops, or you can take the block away. I'm actually doing a little better without the block. Or, do this, you can bring the forearm down too. So whatever works for you. Continue to breathe. So those hips are facing to the left, or I'm sorry, to the right, not the left or right. Good. And then bring that right leg down. Go ahead and lift the torso, and we'll try it on the other side. So you can see if you use the block as you turn now to the left and begin to lift that left leg, it will lift you up a few inches more. Otherwise, you can keep the hand on the chair. All right, so start by facing the chair. Now the weight's in the right leg. My right hand is on the chair. I'm just going to bring my left toes back. I don't have any weight in that leg. Keeping the weight in the right leg. Come forward, put your weight now into that right hand. And then as you begin to straighten the right leg, Lift the left leg. Good. Extend the left arm. Continue to breathe. Good. And then as you exhale, bend that right knee, bring the left foot down, and lift. That is an intermediate pose, so that is hard. So that's why the block helps. And again, you don't have to lift your leg all the way up. Just even here, it is so great for developing these glute muscles, which are important for walking, going up and down stairs, all that. Okay, let's put our chair to the side. We're going to come down to the mat. Make sure your strap is closed. And we're going to extend our legs out in front of us. And we're going to start by coming into what's called Dandasana. So when we stand, always at the beginning of our standing postures, that's Tadasana. This is Dandasana, which is the seated pose, but similar to Tadasana. So legs are just like when you're standing, just about shoulder width apart, knees and toes pointing up. Now, roll on either side, pull the muscle away from your sit bone. And you'll feel yourself rooted down a little more, the pelvis into the mat. Now, to get the torso upright, you're going to use your arms. So if you're okay placing your hands with your fingertips facing forward by your hips, then we'll do that. If that's too much extension in the wrist, try turning your hands to the side. Because basically we want to keep a little bend in the elbow, but we're going to press into our hands to now extend the spine. So you want to lift up out of those hips. Remember how in Tadasana we keep the shoulders down, chest is lifted, and just gazing forward, we'll take a couple of breaths. Good. And then from here, we're going to come into reverse tabletop. You knew I was going to say that, didn't you? So anyway, we're going to bend our knees, bring your feet on the mat. Again, see how your hands feel. So this one, normally we turn the fingertips, same way, facing forward. If that's going to be too much as you begin to lift your hips, you can turn your hands so that your fingers go out to the side. Or experiment, maybe in between that, whatever's comfortable on your wrists. All right, so remember this one, we have a lot of different options. So basically it's just lifting the hips. So even if you just practice here, keeping those abs tight, you can do that a couple of times. Otherwise, with your inhale, you're going to lift your chest. Good. You could even stay here. It's actually a back bend, so you would lift and just look up. Or press into your feet, lift your hips. Try to get your hips about knee height. And then dropping that head back, looking up. It is a lot of pressure in the shoulders and the arms. So again, experiment with those hands. Or maybe you're just here and lifting. Good. And then with your exhale, go ahead and release. Go ahead and cross those legs. Now, you want to take your wrists, do some wrist circles, rub it out. This is actually a great pose for building strengthen the wrists. But again, you have to be careful because you don't want to hurt yourself. So you'll start with the hands in a comfortable position. All right. Okay, from here, you're going to grab your strap. And then I'm going to sit up on a blanket. So if your blanket is nearby, go ahead and sit up on it. Extend your legs out in front of you. Keep the left leg straight. You're going to bend the right knee and slide your right foot into your left inner thigh. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, though, is a twist, then we'll do our forward fold. So the right hand's going to come around behind you. You're going to inhale to lengthen the spine, and then we're going to exhale, turn to the right, place your left hand on that right knee as you turn and look to the right. Good. And then release a twist back to center, and then taking your strap, again, finding that midpoint, putting that around the ball of the left foot, and then holding on to the strap with each hand, similar to what we did on the floor. Now, focus on the top of that left thigh. Tighten it. You feel how then the back of the thigh comes a little closer to the mat. Good. Pull those shoulders down the back. If you're a little more flexible, maybe bending from the hip. Be cautious of that low back. You don't want any rounding there. Good. Continue to breathe. Maybe you can even hold on to the side of the foot or your toes. But again, depending on that low back. And breathe. Good, and then with the inhale, go ahead and come on up. Release your strap, and we'll try those two on the other side. So sliding that left foot up. Again, if your knee is up a little bit, you can bring your blanket, or if you have another folded blanket, roll it up a little bit just to support that knee. All right, so we'll inhale to lengthen. Now we're going to begin to turn to the left. Place your right hand on that left knee, left hand around behind you to support the spine as you turn and look to the left. Good, and then release back to center. Grab that strap. Good, place it around the ball, the left foot. Good, extend the arms and then pull the shoulders down the back. So the ball, the foot, now you're pulling your toes in towards you. Tighten the top of the right thigh. Good, continue to breathe. Good, and then with the inhale, go ahead and lift the torso. Remove your strap, put that to the side. And then we'll bend the right knee, slide the soles of the feet together as we come into Bandha Konasana. Now, if you find that you're rounding here, bring those hands behind you, maybe on the fingertips rather than the flat palm. Have your fingers facing away from you. And as you press into those fingertips, also press into your knees. Just to open up the hips a little bit. This way it keeps that low back straight. It also helps to, otherwise you can have your hands here and press with your elbows, but then you tend to kind of round as you do that. I actually like this one a lot better. Good. All right. Go ahead and release those legs, shake them out. And then from here, go ahead and roll on your side. Lower yourself down to the mat. Grab whatever you need for Savasana. Maybe you have your blanket. Putting on a little sweater or socks. And then as you make yourself comfortable, just kind of wiggle it out a little bit. Wiggle those shoulders, maybe your neck. Extend the legs out in front of you. Just let those feet fall open to the sides. Arms are a little bit away from the body. Palms rotated so they're facing up. That way you open the chest. And then go ahead and close the eyes. And return your attention to the breath. Notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. Feel the breath as it enters the nostrils and flows into the lungs. Focus on the rib cage as it expands with each inhale and contracts with each exhale. And then focus on the physical body. Really relax all the muscles from the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. Release any tension or tightness. And then focus on the mind. Release any thoughts, worries, or anxieties. And if these try to come back in, without any judgment, just release them. And turn the attention back to the breath. Again, notice the inhale. And notice the exhale. Allow yourself just a few moments to completely let go. Begin to deepen your breath. And then start moving your fingers and toes. And then the wrists and the ankles. And when you're ready, bending both knees and rolling onto your right side in a fetal position and taking a few breaths here. And then using your left hand to support you, pushing yourself back up into your seated position. And keeping the body relaxed and the eyes closed for another moment. Focus on the intention that you set at the beginning of the practice. And then we'll take one more deep cleansing breath. So take a nice big inhale and exhale it all out. And then go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.